43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30. 29.
28. 27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12. 11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Welcome to the Mouthwash Talks show. We are sitting on February 25th, 2025, and we are here to bring you a minty fresh take on politics. The panelists tonight will consist of myself, Lucy Brenton, the Libertarian. Please pay special attention to my pronouns. They're very special to me. And we'll be bringing on Brad Swinski as our Democrat panelist. Tiffany is taking a much needed vacation. So for those of you who are accustomed and looking for her makeup tips at the end of the show, tonight you'll just have to be disappointed and on your own. So what I'd like to do first is go ahead and bring Brad up.
Hey, Lucy.
Brad, thank you. You know,
How's it
it's kind
going?
of the liberty. It's going great for me. How's it going for you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Wait, I want to get out of the way. Like, they announced who is in charge of Doge, finally, because apparently it's not Elon Musk.
Do you believe them? I mean, it's
No,
like
I mean, the fact that it took them, what, like 2 weeks or so to even come up with a name. I guess online they're saying that she was in Mexico when she found out.
So remember that song? Was it with the Wiggles? Hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I guess you got.
it seems like they're running a tight ship right now. So, you know,
That's so
there's
tight
that.
that no water nor common sense can enter.
No, I mean, you know, thank goodness they're slashing what they do. I was actually thinking like it would have been like a really good idea if for each department, you know, like the Treasury Department, they would have somebody like looking into waste in that, and then like have another one for a different department. Like, wouldn't that just be a good idea? And then I looked into it, and it turned out those are the inspectors general.
Ah,
In
have they
charge of
been
each
generally inspecting anything?
well, not anymore because Trump fired like 17 of them a couple
They
weeks
didn't
ago
turn- they didn't turn in
before
their
Doge
5
went
bullet
in
points?
there, you know.
Oh, really? So he cleared them out before Doge got in there.
Yeah, because I mean, if you want to know what's going on in the system, like you don't want to talk to the people who've been working there or like know the system and can kind of help.
That just seems kind of like a waste of time, don't you think? I mean, actually asking the people who might know.
Well, but I mean, I understand the conspiracy side of it too, because like if they're the ones that know, they're the ones who were doing it in the first place. So
You know, that makes sense.
no,
That
no, it
makes
doesn't.
absolute
No, it
sense.
doesn't, Lucy. Don't jump in on that. Come on.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't post my sarcasm font. Well, we actually have an exciting show for folks tonight because John Schmitz is actually on the hot seat. I'm hosting because John is actually running to be the chairman of the Marion County GOP. So I wish him Godspeed because Lord knows that that's probably like herding a bunch of cats. And I can say that because I'm the libertarian and I have much experience herding my little tribe of cats. I guess it's a pride, not a tribe. So tell me, Vera, do you have any good questions tonight? We got to grill John and be mean to him like I am to all the other guests.
Oh no, I was actually waiting for you to. I usually take your lead, I think, on that.
Oh, so you like to
I
jump in on the.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for the most part, most of the news cycle that I've just been entertaining myself with has been more national lately. Just with, you know, I do have a crush on the press secretary, I guess.
She's gorgeous and smart. I think I
No,
even like her
I don't
better
know
than
about
Sarah
that
Huckabee.
part. She's very pretty, but like smart. She knows how to like say things without saying them, and She knows how to
Mhm.
not answer a question. And ooh, I have a question. I've been reading a lot lately, and it says, you know, people are angry at the White House, and then it'll get to the end of the set or the story, and it'll say, the White House declined to comment.
Oh,
Like, how is that allowed? Like,
I think they just
they just
turn the key
they
in.
don't answer the question. They're just like, deuces, I'm out. That's it.
Yeah.
White Houses can just
Yeah.
do that.
Um,
Awesome.
well, here's what's scarier. Is it, and, okay, so I'm not I'm not a libertarian. The stress of being the host is getting to me. John, you have a hard job. I am neither Republican nor Democrat. So being a libertarian, I have a different perspective on it. So is it worse now where the White House is declining to comment, or was it worse when Biden was not the one commenting and everybody knew it because he was in the middle of dementia?
Fair question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We've got two very different presidents. One we just had a whole committee of people running things and really didn't include him. And now we have the polar opposite, one guy who's a cowboy that seems to be doing everything and not including, it doesn't really seem like he cares much what his staff says.
Or if there's a plan, it doesn't.
I think he has a plan. I think they all have a plan. I've been fighting some things here at the county level that we'll have to have a whole show on. And I find out that they all have all kinds of plans within plans. But I'm wondering if John Schmitz has a plan for his GOP run. So I want to let you know that I'm taking no prisoners and I'm going to treat John just as harshly. And I don't really mean to be uncivil harsh, but I don't take excuses. And so John's going to have to face the both of us tonight since Tiffany's on vacation. Are you ready to bring him on, Brad?
I'm gonna throw him some softballs. So yeah.
All
Pumped.
right, let's hit those and I'll bring it back. Come on, welcome to your own show.
All right. Well, I think I get to be on the bottom here since I'm producing and on the show. And we do have Devon Anderson, my treasurer pick on. Do you want to bring her on at the same time or?
Devon, please come on.
All right, here we go. We got that. And so we're just coming back from the big showdown up on the north side. So our people are scattered to the wind right now. And it's just been sort of chaotic trying to run a campaign, a show and everything else. And Lucy, thanks for stepping in here. I feel like I just can be sort of the producer tonight, but, and I know I've been on here before and you all you don't pull any punches. So
no, I won't. And just so everybody watching knows, I had a very serious conversation with John earlier, and I made sure that he knew that just because we're friends and just because I get paid big bucks to be on the show, that I will not go easy on him. And so,
gee, thanks. That's good to know. I just got a critique. Yeah, I just got a critique from Spiro and Adam on the way home of how bad I was terrible tonight.
Well, I'm sure you actually did wonderfully. And Devon can probably let us know. So Devon, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
Thank
Devon.
you.
Yeah, tell him how it went tonight.
He did very well. I've seen the text. He showed his leadership qualities and mixed it up with a little humor. It was great. I believe the skills and your task management stand out. You have put it together well.
Yeah, and I just, Devon is our treasurer endorsement. So how this works is we have the chairman's race, and whoever wins that race, I mean, you are in charge right then. So you come out, you take over the meeting, and then we do the nomination process of the vice, the secretary, and the treasurer. And I've picked, my people to do that, and I can be more happy with those folks. They're supposed to be jumping on here. We'll see if they can make it. But like I said, there was, I think that Maury had some kind of basketball game or something. So we all have busy lives to do all this.
Yes.
So
we really do. So Devon, thank you for taking the ultimate hot potato. You were the one in the musical chairs who was left without a chair. And that's how we know you got to be for treasurer. Our treasurer in the Libertarian Party has been there for many years. I think he left the meeting to go pee one night and they elected him while he was gone and couldn't say no.
Yeah, that's
so now we won't let him go.
Hold it.
Yeah, that's the hard one. So Brad, I'm going to go ahead and start. I have, some questions that are really on my mind. Now, I do want to disclose that I have formerly been the vice chair of the Libertarian Party here in Indiana. and have served the party in other ways. So some of the things that I'm going to ask you come from my insight as having been on a board and having been the vice chair. So Brad, if I say anything that I'm speaking out of my knowledge and just assuming that people know things and I'm not being clear, I expect you to jump in and point out that I'm being an idiot.
I will be
And
the
correct me
5-year-old
or-
who will demand more explanation on things. Don't worry. Yeah.
If you're a good boy, we'll give you a sucker at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to double your pay by the end of the show. You know what,
Good.
John? The first having been a vice chair in the Libertarian Party, where we have no budget, but we have lots of fun and do things. Actually, we get a good return on our investment for the dollars we get in. You're getting ready to walk into the top political party in the state of Indiana, in the most populous county in Indiana. What makes you think that you're the man for the job?
Well, I mean, basically, I've been playing this long game to get to this spot for about 4 years. I ran last time against a system that was fairly rigged for one person to win. It was a selection, not an election. And that sort of disturbed me. And that's like, and I start hearing other precinct committee, well, they don't listen to us. One of the things that I've noticed talking to I call them old heads, talking to the old heads, is that they've not had anything to get excited about. But I talk to them and they're like, man, if you are our leader, I like what you're saying. You have the energy and I can get behind you, but I'm not going to get behind the same old, same old. What I find very interesting is for 6 years, they haven't cared about this party. And then all of a sudden somebody else comes in and their hair catches on fire. And that is why I feel like I could do this job, is because I've been actually doing the job. We were able to elect PCs. We've been just doing the job. And I'll tell a quick story about Devon and how much I respect her. We were running PCs and we were trying to work with the party. If you're familiar with Micah Beckwith's run, and I know Brad knows all about Micah, the delegates were out there wanting to burn the party down. We're against them, but our stance was the whole time was we want to build the party up. And we sort of got lumped in with those rebel raisers and that. But Devon got caught in the crossfire because I asked our chairman now, I said, who in our party that you do not want us to run someone against? And Devon got caught in the crossfire and she ended up getting beat. And I felt really bad because she's a wonderful person, but it's all about communication and working together. And these are the type of things that frustrate me. So instead of Devon getting mad, Devon came to our meeting, she figured it out, and she says, you know what? I think this is a good thing to do. And she could have said, hey, I don't want to do this. But I gained so much respect for her when she started showing up and really wanted to be involved in the party. And it's not, sometimes you don't get, it's like, what's that, Rolling Stones? You don't get what you need, but sometimes you get what you want, or whatever. You don't get what you want, but you get what you need. That's it. So when you can throw a Rolling Stone quote in somewhere, it's always good. But that's why I think that I can, make things happen. But, you're right. This is a thankless job. I'm doing it for free. And it's, the party's pretty bad shape. Funding's questionable, but I think we can still do it. I love a challenge and I love to try to get a shot at this. So, but that's why I think I could be the guy to do this.
Any questions, Brad? Any comment, Devon?
Well, I just have a couple questions actually. I guess, what is your biggest hurdle getting other Republicans energized? Like you said, because you guys, Marion County is kind of like the rest of Indiana is for Democrats. Like, I'm used to losing all the time.
Maybe we should trade places.
No, and so it always cracks me up when, when you talk about just how just the situation with the Democrats, kind of being the leaders in the majority in the county. How does that impact you guys recruiting people, I guess?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of Republicans have moved out to the donuts. I'm going to compare this to back in the day. Center Township was the Democrat stronghold, and all of the 6 surrounding townships, or 8 surrounding, were Republican. But now those have moved out. It's just the donuts now. You'll catch all the Republicans moving out there. And, it's a struggle. So we really have to brand our message towards what people in Marion County want. And honestly, there's still a lot of conservative people with conservative values that are here, but they don't have anything good to go to. And us as Republicans, the biggest hurdle is to get a message to those folks that we care, that we want to make things better for you, and that we're going to be there for you. And we don't have that now. It's non-existent. So that's our thing. We got to brand our message, get it out, and get people excited about it, because hey, the Democrats are complacent. They're sitting back on their heels. And we had another Democrat that was supposed to come on after this, and she's caught a bunch of garbage for coming on the show. So she canceled at the last minute. And I'm just sad that people feel like they can't be themselves, or they're going to make somebody mad, or they're going to do this. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that. I want people to speak freely and be heard and included. And I think that's our biggest deal. These parties think that they're up here and, the people are down here, and I want to be down here with the people. And I think that's where, I've shown that I do that with where I go and what I do. So that's the hurdle. I mean, it's a big one, but if we don't stop digging, it's just going to get worse. So I don't know if Devon wants to add anything to that or not, but it's like, what's our biggest hurdle for the success here?
Well, as a member of Marion County, just trying to be active into the party, it is a one-way communication. And John, you've mentioned this. You ask, can I help? What can I do? And you get no answers. There's no response. So I think John is unifying those people that want to be involved and giving them a message that, we may not win everything, we may not, but we will fill the ballot and we will fill the slots, the PC slots, and that's important.
Yep. I think that pretty much sums it up. It's easy on paper, but hard to do. So that's where we're at.
The interesting thing that I see in your position, John, is when I ran for vice chair, I had a strong chair. Evan McMahon is still our chair. He's a workhorse. And so, I mean, I was stuck down in Southern Indiana. He's up in Central Indiana where all the action is. And so he did 95% of the work. I mean, honestly, unless there was something I needed to show up at, he did it all. And so I was in a very privileged position to be able to have this great title and get a lot of glory and do very little work. I don't think your situation is going to be the same. So a
No.
lot of people are going to ask, and I recognize the sacrifice that this is going to end up having on your business and your personal life. What are you doing to prepare for when you win to be able to juggle all of this?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I'm semi-retired from my masonry business. In fact, I just got a note today that we got a foundation ready up in Westfield. So I'm like, I have to get the band back together and go do that. But I have I built a good team in my company. I don't have to be there all the time. I think there was one time when I was running against Carson, and I was on the job 2 hours that week. My foreman's been with me for 20 years. He knows the program. I've had guys with me for a long time. And this is very similar to this party situation. We need to start building a foundation so that I don't have to be the end all everything for this stuff. And that's why I'm just glad to have Devon and Maury and Elizabeth. I asked them to do this, and it's sticking their neck out. If you think it's not sticking your neck out, ask Mike Speedy today when he endorsed me, how much grief he got. And Elizabeth Williams for taking this role as vice chair, how much grief that she got. It's awful that people feel threatened, shamed, and otherwise bullied into different positions or to vote a certain way. And to me, that's not a healthy party. And it's a lot like what the Democrats do here. And I think that's where we'll make hay, is we'll have Democrats that do not want to be told what to do. I don't think a lot of people are like that. And they're not really appreciated as much. Now, they are cohesive. They have every precinct filled up, but again, I think there's some complacency there. And I'm sure that we're going to spark some, because I think I heard somebody say, well, the Democrats' heads are going to explode if Schmitz wins, because then they have to do something. So it's
Right.
like, yeah. So let's put it this way. We've got a lot of excitement. And, tonight we had like 90 people for this forum. And that's the most excitement I've seen in this Republican Party in the 4 years I've been doing it. So the very least, we're giving a wake-up call. But I think on the high side of this is that people are starting to think that we got something better to go to. And that's what I think Devon and myself and our team adds up. And we have a bunch of people behind the scenes that are now. My wife Lisa asked if the Dems are coming on. No, Annette's not. She wanted to come on, and apparently she got I can't do it.
John, how long is like this? How long is like the current, political? Like, how long have they been in power? I guess. Like, how long have the same people been in?
Are you talking about this position?
Yeah. Like,
okay, so we've had Joe Elsner, and my hat goes off to Joe Elsner. He stayed the whole 4 years to do this, and he did make some inroads. He worked really closely with the minority county council guys. I talked to them, and they were real. He was really on top of them. But he worked for the state, and he would call this his part-time job. And you ask how do you deliver? Well, it's going to be my full-time job. It's not like, and I'm doing it for nothing. They said, well, you got to raise the money we raise. I'm going to put back into the PCs, invest in them, in their clubs, and they're the people that do the work, and they're going to feel appreciated, and they're going to be motivated to go out and do this stuff. And then we're going to ask them their opinions on what our platform is. Basically, it's easy. We're going to listen to what they say. And right now, as Devon said, they've ignored me from day. I'll give you one quick story. So on our website, they have a calendar, and it's red. And when you hover over the thing, it's red. And you can't tell what it's, and now it doesn't have anything. They have this is where you go for your club meetings and all that. And I made the simple suggestion of like, hey, could you fix that? I mean, it's really confusing, and it's hard you can't read it. And that was just a minor example of stuff they just refused to do. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Jungle Book, Brad. You're pretty, Jungle Book, the Tar Baby, the Brer Rabbit, the Tar Baby.
Yeah, like
yeah. When you don't listen to somebody, they punch you in the mouth and they get stuck by the Tar Baby. I mean, that's just it's human nature that if we're not listened to, we get discouraged. And so I think what I hear from people is that they're excited about a possible change that's going to get people going. And it's obvious that our opponent is same old. Good manager, not a builder. And we need a builder. This is bottom line. So,
Devon, can you kind of speak to that too, like just on the fight aspect of it? Because what you said earlier kind of stuck with me with, we may not always win each one, but like we're going to fight. So can you kind of elaborate on just that vibe?
Yeah, and that's John's message also is we have to go on the offense. We've been on the defense too much. And what do you do in the sporting game? You put your lineup in, you put your best people in, and you go to it and you go to battle. And we've just been giving up the match or the game or whatever you want to say. We don't even have any, we don't have a person on the ballot. We just gave up. And that's happening too many seats. And until you have those PC slots, I'm big on this PC committeeman. If you don't have those PC slots filled and you're out communicating, you don't have a strategy, you don't have a lineup, you're not going to win. And that's where we've been. In my opinion, that's where we've been. So it's time to go on the offense.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, Devon was a victim of overlap, but we have 618 precincts here in Marion County. And previously before this, they had about 50 to 100 elected PCs. Now, the difference between elected and appointed is elected, you actually run for office, and it's very hard to remove an elected PC. Appointed would be to the mercy of the chair. So they appoint these people in order to vote. And if they don't do what they say, we'll see you later. Devon hit it right on the head. We just do not have them filled. We were able to get over 100 people elected, but it's still 220 total elected was it out of 618. And then they appoint a lot of people that I never see them at any meetings, ever see them at anything. Old Rex Early, he was a big Republican dude back in the day. He called them mummy dummies. That's where they just come vote. But we're not going to win any races with just people that just come vote. And I joked around when I was getting people to run. I said, all you got to do is come vote. And then I would sort of suck them into all this work. And Joyce Marshall, Devon knows her to be a perfect example. She was in my spin class. And I said, hey, why don't you do this? And now she's like a rock star. Her and Devon are like a dynamic duo in Pike Township. They just take names. I mean, you want something done, you get Joyce and Devon on it, and it's going to happen. And that's the type of stuff we need to nurture and we need to cultivate, and that spreads. And I can already see the folks in Pike waking up and getting involved, because they were down to this scraping the barrel on precinct people. They were all burned out. Not all, but most of them were burned out. They were looking for some leadership. And when they heard about us coming along, they're perking up. They're like getting involved. So I don't know if that answered any of your question, Brad. I'm tired.
I think that part's important, is like, because I feel like you guys kind of combine forces in a way that not everybody takes advantage of. And Devon, you kind of mentioned it too. You could have a good message, but if you're by yourself with no support, you're not going to do anything. It requires you, like, people to come together, which I still feel in today's world, people don't want to come together for anything, even on the same side. Like, Republicans don't want to come together for things that might benefit them too. So yeah, I don't know. It's not a fun time.
It's interesting what you say, because I was writing down some things as you were talking, and I was thinking about, what is the big job that you have ahead of you? And the big job is, usually you start to get momentum and you build something and it starts to roll downhill and the snowball gets bigger and bigger. But I feel like that really hasn't happened with the last GOP hierarchy or, power structure in Marion County. What I've seen, and I used to live there. I grew up, I graduated from Northwest High School. I went to Broad Ripple High School also for the performing arts program. My formative years were spent in Marion County. I was a Head Nut Hook girl, right? Y'all remember the Head Nut Hook? Yeah. So I've been around a long time, and the complacency within Marion County GOP to me is they've given up. It's just like the Democrats, like Brad mentioned, the Democrats, their complacency. There's nobody that's inspired them, because there hasn't been anybody that wasn't willing to cast a vision that people can get behind. If these precinct committeemen or prospective committeemen don't see that they really can make a difference, that there's somebody who's going to take the lead and forge the way, then there's not much to get behind, right? So um, I guess, and I'm going to say this before I ask you another
Thanks
question.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
is there a question in here? That's usually my job.
There's-
no,
there's
I'm
going to
laughing
be,
at
yeah.
like you popped up Slick Witty's comment of, Democrats have 100% given up.
Yeah.
Classic Witty line.
No, he was talking about Republicans. Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought he was talking
100%
about
they have
them,
given up.
so,
No,
yeah.
see, you took that personally. So you read yourself
like-
into it. Isn't,
Yeah,
isn't
like,
that
come
like
on.
the woke mob? You're
Well,
the woke
he also-
mob. You're
this is
victimizing
also-
yourself.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
also what he wants to do. He wants to come together and fight in the street. So, you'll have to take all that with a grain of salt.
I don't. It's just that I guess the difference is I've known you for a few years, mostly just because of being on the show. And one thing that I've seen over and over again is, John, you go in the streets and you help people. I mean, you've built this company, sure. You've had to go through all those iterations as an entrepreneur, managing cash flow, wondering where payroll is going to come from, making sure that you get out there and do the sales job to get the next contract so that your employees can eat. And I know there's probably times, maybe every time, when I've been an employer, I always pay my employees first and I end up getting what's left. And sometimes that's less than the employees. There's plenty of times I paid myself zero so that somebody else would get paid. So I know that you've been through those kind of stresses on the scale of your job, which means that you could take on the position of the budget of the Marion County GOP. But I think a big difference that I've seen just from knowing you is you have the Mars Hill Art Center. And if I were in Marion County, I would be more active. I would love to come support you in that. I would love to come feed the homeless with you. I love to sew. I would love if we had some sort of, blanket thing that we could do for them to help keep them warmer, get people knit and crocheting hats. But you've been doing all that work consistently and you haven't made a big deal out of it. You've just quietly been doing the work. And I think that's what people really need to know is most of the Republicans that I knew from living in Hamilton County, they were write a check Republicans. They had the
Yeah.
money to just write a check. And so they could assuage their guilt from having all this money by writing a check. And they had that real feel goodism. They felt like they were doing what needed to be done, but they weren't connecting with people on a human level. And I know you put plenty of money behind this too, but I think more than anything, my personal opinion and my personal witness of your actions is just that you get down and you're handing food to hungry people. And you I can't even count how many times, you've gone on social media or you've called people and said, "Hey, we got to feed some people this weekend. Can you help? Can you send some money? Can you show up and hand them out?" So um, there is a question there. And the
Yeah, I was
question
getting ready to
is,
give you the old hook on it.
yeah, yeah, I have a hard time. I lecture Divine because I have 10 kids and I
But hey,
couldn't
I'm
get
not going
into
to
that.
stop you with all those compliments. I mean, hey, you go on
Yeah.
if you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'm sure I could find some other things too. But the thing that would weigh heaviest on my heart is you're going to step into a position where you have the ability to influence and inspire and get moving thousands and thousands of people, and then get those people in a position to really help at the community level. So, have you thought about, hey, when I'm chairman of the GOP, Marion County, John Schmitz, I'm going to get other Republicans to help the community by, and then you fill in the blank. How are you going to inspire these GOPers to help their individual communities?
Well, and this is when it gets down to the grassroots that our party claims to have, but I never see the grass and I never see the roots. And I think we are the roots. And I will go to these neighborhoods. And when I was campaigning, I said every neighborhood needs three things in their neighborhood to do. If you look at the neighborhoods that are failing, they don't have things in there. They don't. So it can either be a pancake house, a coffee shop, a art center,
Library.
a library. We got a little
Library.
free
Yeah.
library. And I encourage them to actually get involved with these things. So I serve with Meet Me Under the Bridge, Kathy Albright. Been doing it. I got involved with politics. I want to see what to see. I didn't have any idea how many people lived out on the street. Not an idea. But when I went, it was eye-opening. That was over 6 years ago. And I didn't get the job, is what I was running for, and I didn't get the job again. But I'm still doing it. Now it's to the point where Kathy, if another politician comes down there, she run them off. Because I've set the bar for I don't just come on Thanksgiving and scoop a thing of mashed potatoes on there. I'm there growing the potatoes or whatever. And I do have to say, I did get my stomach had everything on sale yesterday, and everything must go. So I was thinking, so I was with the autism group on Saturday that I helped organize. And then I had kids church with 30 different kids in there on Sunday morning. Then I had served 120 homeless people. I'm like, well, who gave me the gift? Who gave me the gift of the flu? Now, thank goodness Lisa didn't get it, because I could go through the flu again and not listen to her give me a hard time. And she was literally spraying Lysol on me. I was spraying it on me, and it's like, but she was sympathetic for a few minutes. But yeah, so that's, and we're not supposed to, if we give, we're not supposed to, right hand's not supposed to know what the left hand's doing.
Yes.
But in this political game, people want to hear what you do and what you're about. And I think I saw Lisa put in the comments, it's not half of what we do. And I'm not in this for that. I'm in this to better our community and basically to build the kingdom. If you look at it, we're supposed to be down here being Jesus's hands and feet, and we're supposed to build a kingdom, build the kingdom as according to the good book. And I don't know anybody that could argue, love your neighbor. And I don't know how you can argue that, but yet we seem to have a disdain for our fellow people, especially if they're on one side of the political aisle or the other side. And they've done a great job dividing us. And I try to bring that together. And I do bring that together. And I talk to people that have been scarlet lettered, that have been blackballed from community, and I get dragged down with them. It's like, okay, I don't know what these certain people are doing, but I'm not going to be mean to them. I'm not so good that I can't talk to them. And I need to remind people that I am a therapist. I do work with people to try to help them and do things. And one of the things I learned was healthy boundaries. You got to stay so far away from people. But when others, for different reasons, want to pile you into just because of guilt of association, that's wrong. That's wrong. It's selfishness. It's wrong. And those are the type of things that I think this campaign is vehemently against. That it's like our show. It's our show mantra. We may not. Everybody has an opinion. We may not agree with it, but we're going to respect it. And I don't see that in this political world. And that's something I really want to bring to the forefront of like, hey, I want to hear what you're saying. Brad, you're the Democrat or whatever. I want to hear what's on your mind. But people are going to say,
John,
well,
this is what almost makes me vote. Like if I live,
you'd almost vote for me. Well,
I would, and that's what I mean. Like you kind of reach across the aisle. It doesn't matter who is in need of the help, you would help them. And
it's cost me, honestly.
But you've shown that, and that level of integrity is missing in so much of like the world and like what we see and what we get to experience and do.
And I think that's why a lot of folks, it's foreign to them, because it's the psycho. I mean, I'm a psychologist. I got a MA in psychology, and I try to use that in the positive way, but you can use that negatively. I mean, I could, I've got a strong personality. I could manipulate somebody in a different way, but that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to use our gifts to I'll give you, this is what I say. Since I've been in this party, they do discourage and, destroy. My thing is like encourage and empower. And that is if you want to look at the difference between what this party does and what I want to do, that would be my main topic. That would be my main description of what this is. We have got to get people involved and encourage them and empower them. And ever since I've been in this with this party, it's been discouraged. Oh, you don't want to go to all these meetings. You don't want to do this. You don't. And when that doesn't work, they send some of their hit people out to do smear pieces on you. They put your bankruptcy thing out on social media. Who does that? I mean, it's like, and then doesn't even tell the whole story, and then just tell a big lie about it. I mean, it's sad. It's like Milton Friedman's, one of his quotes was, "Where are we going to find these angels to run our government?" I sort of paraphrase that, but that's sort of where it is. Where are we finding these perfect people to do this? I'm not perfect, but I'm not so good that I won't talk to somebody. I don't care where they are in their station in life. And if you were to come down and see me with the homeless, working with our homeless friends, there's a lot of people. That's the only therapy they're going to get is with me. That's the only, I may be the only friendly face they see all week. Me and the other folks that serve. So to me, that's more important. And hopefully that resonates in my character and how I do things. And I'm going to go back to Devon and Maury and Elizabeth. I called them to do this job, and it's not easy. It's not, and you're sticking your neck out, and they did not hesitate to do it. And I'm like, wow. And they gave me reasons that, hey, I like what you do. I'm not embarrassed to be all the stuff. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm glad that, folks are noticing. So I know that was a very long answer to a short question, but hey, that's what I do sometimes.
What I heard when you were talking is that we have to break the mold. From what I see just in your campaign and the things that you're doing, I think what you're trying to bring is a level of humanity to the Republican Party. And by being the chairman of the GOP, you'd really be in a position to make a mind shift. Democrats often, and sometimes rightly, I might add, criticize Republicans for being heartless. The Republicans are
Yeah.
always accused of wanting to take away social programs. You've literally worked inside social programs that are not government sponsored. So you didn't wait for the government to come feed people. You just went and fed people. And I seriously doubt that any of the people accepting food from you, did any of them ask you, hey, are you a Republican or Democrat? Because if you're a Republican, I don't want your food. That ever happened?
That is funny. People will accuse me of, you're not a Republican. I thought you were busy pushing grandma off the cliff, but which, I would do that. I mean, no, I wouldn't do that.
I thought you shoved her from a train or something.
Yeah. Well, that's before the cliff, but I've shoved her off a cliff onto a train. How's that? Does that cover it? It's like that country song, Mama Got Ran Over by a Train. But these are the things that we get branded that way. And, that's part of the politics. Part of the politics of this is getting our message out, communicating it, getting a brand, and all that. Oh, guess what? We got another victim behind stage here. Want to bring on Elizabeth? I think she might be ready. Nod your head if you're ready, Elizabeth. She's not ready yet. I'll just, no, I'll bring her on. She just sat down, so we'll see. Hey, there you go. Are you scared like a deer in the headlights?
Hi, Elizabeth.
So let's see. Let's put you guys down here and Brad down here. There we go.
Used to put the girls against the boys.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like Charlie.
We'll lose. It's not fair.
Yeah, we will. You never win. But
Yeah.
did you notice that if you put your wife on the ballot with you, you will never win? I don't know.
Well, vote for her. Yeah.
I would vote for her too myself.
Yeah,
if she won by one vote, it'd be mine. So Elizabeth, welcome to the show. Are you frozen? She's still trying to get her voice, her stuff.
Yeah, to
going
get the
there.
audio and stuff going.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah,
her.
we'll
We'll
now
bring
she's
her
in
back. So
streaming
I
audio.
was like, I couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
when you're ready, come on in. I'm sure we can find some. Now she's your vice chair pick.
Vice chair, yeah, and she's
Awesome.
she's sharp. And they all. I mean, and when I asked them to do this work, they just picked it up. You know, Devon's a perfect example. She looked up for the Secretary of State. She dug into what the job was, and she's already given us advice. Maury, the secretary, she's at her son's basketball game. She started doing the text messaging. She got direct mail out. I mean, she just picked it up
Excellent.
and ran. And Elizabeth, the same way. She's doing the vice chairman thing. And that's something we had non-existent in the last party. They were just basically figureheads. And poor Joe Elsner was the only one lifting the weights. It just made
Well, there's something that I feel pretty strongly about, if you don't mind me jumping in, and that is shaking up entrenched people in any position. You know, whether they're libertarian, Democrat, Republican, I don't care. I am really in favor of term limits, changing the guard. And by the way, as Andy Horning would say, you have term limits already. It's called the ballot box. You don't have to keep voting these people in, so you don't have to artificially stop them. The people should be choosing somebody different.
Yeah,
and
but
I think
Andy
that's important.
just posted that everybody's been voting for the same thing for the last 30 years, and we only have ourselves to blame. And so
yes,
Andy is like
he's so
my
smart.
favorite guy. He is, but
hey, I'm going to steal him from you, Lucy. I'm stealing him.
No,
yes,
no.
Watch me. Sorry. I'm just saying.
He probably would like to be on the, like an actual winning side for once, but he is one of my favorite people.
Oh, he is.
He's so smart. Such a gentleman.
He is. Yeah.
He's way too nice. I would like to see him.
I feel like I'm just
mad one time.
I have not been in the trenches as long as him, but I feel a little like Andy Horning on stuff. Obviously he's comes in from the constitutional side and very libertarian, and I have a libertarian side in me that, hey, if we're not bothering you, if it's not bothering anybody, then get out of my business. So I like that saying right there.
I think that's important, but I just really see that you have the opportunity to break the mold of what has been the brand, for want of a better term, the Marion County GOP, even when I was, living there 40, 50 years ago, the GOP seemed to me to be all about the rich people having their contracts and having their galas and having their parties. And I didn't, and I grew up Republican. So, this was the party, and I'm a part person in the Republican Party, and I felt disenfranchised by the Marion County GOP when I was a kid. And so it was very easy to lose me to the Libertarian Party, which is what happened, because I looked for something that I viewed as compassionate, that was for real people. And I just viewed the GOP as something for the rich. And yeah,
Lucy,
so that's the brand that you're up
I
against.
told you that. Like, all I knew when I started was that, like, I'm not a Republican, and that's like all I really knew.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I talked about like libertarian a little bit.
Well, one of the things that I want to,
libertarian.
if I can break in here, I tell people I'm John Schmidt's Republican, not Republican John Schmidt's. And I think the problem we've had is that the party has become more important than the people. And I think that's definitely, anybody that's libertarian would agree with that. I mean, you all have your own issues with trying to get the, herding cats chasing butterflies on the back of turtles at a libertarian event a lot of times, but they are there for the right reasons. They're there because of their individuality, and they're trying to make a group. Now it gets tricky that way because everybody has an opinion. Then people start getting called rhinos in the Republican Party, and they're all different names. And we don't focus our attention to the places where we need to focus it. So I think that this is, like you said, this is a paradigm shift of, hey, we're going to put the people in front of the party name, because they've honestly gone out and shamed and bullied and threatened people to do things. And somebody that endorses me, they are automatically chastised. Now, Devon stayed under the radar a little bit. Now she's out there. There'll probably be somebody coming after her tomorrow. What are you joining up with that band of gypsies for? Ah, rah, 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 rah. So this is the
I
type of
seem to
thing we must
remember
stop.
I seem to remember a ragtag group of people that overthrew the most powerful um, military force in the world. I mean, we were just a ragtag bunch of guerrillas over here in the Americas when
Yeah,
we
and
told King
and
George
this
what
thing
to do.
has gotten into a establishment against the grassroots type of thing, and I don't like that, but I didn't pick that. I announced the day after I lost to Carson because what I saw was people marching in, voting R&D. They did not care that there was a guy, me, that's out in the
Right.
community, that's doing the work. They're gonna some guy that's over at the topless bar, which is what I heard, and just sitting there, not doing a thing, not campaigning, not debating, not anything. And he wins by 70%. And it's just because the people went in and voted for a party and not the person. And that's what got me, started. Now, the party could have come to me and said, "Hey, John, we've liked what you've done for the 4 years. How can we work together?" No, they didn't do that, but they run somebody against me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, not only do we don't like you, but we're going to make sure you don't get in there. And
It's really interesting about that because I had my own run-ins with Mr. Carson when I was running for United States Senate. There tends to be like a little circuit of places that you appear, and since I was a federal candidate and he was a federal candidate, we often appeared at the same places. And probably the worst insult that I can hurl at Mr. Carson is that he is a consummate politician. I mean, John, you don't act like a politician. You're a
I'll
businessman
try
who has
harder.
gone out. Yeah, well, please don't.
No,
Please
don't.
don't,
We like you,
because
John. Don't do that.
the problem is, as you've seen this too on the circuit, you get a politician and they show up and they scoop mashed potatoes, and then as soon as the cameras are gone, they're gone. They're out the back door. And you don't do that. And so I witnessed that kind of behavior with Mr. Carson and with others, that they were there for the show. And they said all the right things when the camera's rolling. They said all the right things when they're sitting at the panelist table. But then really, when it boils down to it, somebody like Andre Carson, his whole job is to go to Washington, D.C. and take as much taxpayer money as he can from all around the country and bring it back here so that he can use
Mhm.
that to make himself look better, so that he can get his name on buildings. And, he was just lucky because he inherited his grandma's legacy. So, John,
Mhm.
you're going to have, once you're the GOP chair, you're going to have a legacy that you're going to be built, that you're going to remember. People will remember you for. What
Yeah,
do you want to be remembered for?
honestly, I don't want to be remembered. I want the people that came along on this to be remembered. If you look at my life, you look at anything I have, I don't have a business with my name on it. I don't have a thing with my name on it here. All my businesses, anything I've ever done has been a name. It's not Schmidt's Masonry. It's not this or that. I don't, I don't want to put my name on there. I really, and I know a lot of people, I don't wear my religion on my sleeve, but my thing is like, Jesus is the name I want people to see. I mean, we may be the only Bible people read. We may be the only actions people see. So as far as my name, I don't want, you guys, Mark, if they try to put a statue up for me or anything, tell them no. I don't
Well,
want it.
it's a pride thing too. It's like
Right.
Yeah, I just don't, I don't need that. The joy of, I'll give you a quick story. The Lambda Chi's up at Ball State. I got involved with them in 2004, and they were struggling real bad. So we basically had to kick them out, tear down that, sell the house and get rid of them. But I didn't quit after that happened. We came back in 2008 with a colony of 18 guys, and then recolonized in 2010. And then when I left in 2014, we had 75 guys. So that was a rebuilding process that we did. And I caught slack from some of the old timers. Oh, you never can do it. But we have to adjust to the times. Kids in college don't do the same thing I did back in the 80s. How we find out what they want is we go spend time with them. And that's one thing I will do. I go spend time with people and see where they live, see what they do, and act accordingly. And that's part of the thing that makes this thing work for us. But I don't want my name on any of this stuff. I just want our party to get right and not be known as the group that hates everybody. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's sort of what it sounds like at some point. So
Well, Brad, I've been asking a lot of questions. Would you like to jump in with one, or do you want me to keep
well,
going?
just like a comment on that. too. Yeah, John, you're the most non-Republican Republican that I've encountered. It's difficult to argue with you on a lot of points, which is why I love coming on the show. I feel like so. I think you put everyone as a human first, and then I don't think that you would even ask like what party affiliation somebody is until you got to know them like way down the line. Like it's not even at the forefront of your mind. So I feel like it's one of those moments where you're the right person to lead it then, because you're not obsessed with self-promoting and
that's one of the things I
trying to
do
get your
hate
name
about
out.
it. I hate about that. It's like, it's just figured out. I mean, I don't, you don't have to pat me on the back. I don't do it for that stuff. But unfortunately, you have to tell people that, or they don't, oh, well, what's he done? What's, what kind of experiences? And so that's the tricky part.
You've probably been a bit too humble. I mean, there are probably a lot of people, because they don't know you at the level that we do.
I've never
They
been
don't know
accused of
that you've
that.
been quietly doing the work. And so I don't know. We'll probably have to have Devon and Elizabeth sing your praises so that people know what you've actually done. And I think the other thing that, and I don't know how you're going to get this message out there, especially when you're doing the election. That's for you to figure out because you're the politician. But you're not a Johnny come lately. You're not somebody who decided they were going to run for chair and then all of a sudden signed up to do 10 things so you could get all of these, photo opportunities. I mean, you've been doing the work for longer than I've known you.
Yeah.
That's
And
been a few years.
I joke about, when I was, helping out agencies or whatever, and they'd have Channel 13 would come out and do interviews. And the person that I was helping, they said, "Oh, you got to interview John. He's been integral in helping our cause here, our efforts." And they'd come over and interview me, and it never would see the light of day. I would joke and say, "There's more edited film on the floor at Channel 13 than there is carpet." And it just, I told them, I said, "You're wasting your time. They're not ever going to do it because they're going to lose a lot of advertising dollars from these parties that pay a lot of money. And they don't want some stiff in there that doesn't have any money." I mean, I hate to say that, but that's pretty much how it goes. So I do see we got
John?
Elizabeth. Do we have sound with Elizabeth? Can you talk?
Hopefully, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Sorry
Hey, John.
for the difficulties. I apologize. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you for coming on.
you.
I'm going to let John introduce you because he
Thank
has full
you.
faith and trust in you, and therefore he knows all the things I don't even know to ask. So, John, would you introduce us to her?
Well, this is Elizabeth Williams. She is a combat vet. She's led folks over to was it Iraq or Iran? What would?
To Iraq, yes. But I
I
was
got
on
it
the
right.
Iranian border and in Kuwait and kind of all throughout the Adjoa.
You look at her and you think, "Oh my gosh!" But yeah, don't mess with her. And like I said, I like to say she takes the edge off my crazy. She's, Brad said, "Well, I got to see that."
That's quite a file.
Yeah. Well, and that's when you build a team that has, everybody complements each other, and they all three bring something to our team. And like I said, in the past, poor Joel Elsner had to do all the heavy lifting before everything. And, I think he did as good as he could. I wish he would have put more of us into that selection, into that process, but it just didn't happen. Because I would have helped. I gave him plenty of opportunities to help, and it just didn't seem like it was appreciated or desired. But Elizabeth, she's ran against Andrew Ireland, and they had it took Mike Speedy's old seat for the House. And that's when I first started noticing her. I'm like, wow, okay, she's doing well here. And I think she only lost by like 60 votes, and it was
dang.
Yeah,
like
I know.
94.
All right, well, 94. I didn't know you were that big a loser.
That's some door knockers right there. You needed more door knockers.
Yes, we knocked on a lot of doors.
Well, Lucy, I think it's because she didn't come on the Mouthwash show. Andrew came on the Mouthwash show.
We make. I'm telling you, we make.
It's before I knew her, but
opportunity.
And honestly, she stuck her neck out because there's believe it or not, there's some division in our party. Believe that or not. But,
that was a good one.
There was, I put it on Facebook that she was joining the team, and man, it was sort of Mike Speedy knows how she feels after today. You get calls from people that are, "Have you lost your mind? That guy's crazy. He's all this." And yeah. So
I don't get it, John.
she's-
Is it just because you like? I mean, is it just because of me and you hang out with a Democrat? Kind of.
well,
Like, I
Brad,
don't get it.
Democrat.
yeah, Brad, you are a minor compared to the people they try to tie me to. Okay, I mean, it's
Exactly.
like
And I have a hard time understanding this
I
power
think-
struggle within the majority party of our state.
okay, I'm going to give you the insider baseball thing here. It's all about money. So my opponent has a consultant agency on there. I'm not going to name their name. That is putting a bunch of money into this thing, and their only goal is to get the next big fish coming down the line so they can get their money. Jefferson's Tree spent $14 million on the mayor's thing, and I'll tell you, the Mouthwash Squad, I'd put them up against anything they did. You think about Jefferson Shreve when he did that interview on our show. I thought that was a really good interview. You ask him the question, he said, I'm not going to infringe on anybody's rights. And a month later, he says, I'm going to do gun control. Out the door he goes. And I just, and I feel bad for him because he gets these people, they get these people and they pump them up. And I see them doing it with my opponent. I see them telling her, oh, you can do this. We need you to go out there. And they've talked her into doing this. And she's in over her head. She doesn't have the time to do it, first off. She got 3 small kids.
Okay,
Nothing
so I
against-
don't know who your opponent is.
Okay.
I've only heard some things that are tangential, but I think the difference is you're somebody that's actually built a real business and been in charge of payroll, literally been in charge of people's lives and whether their families could eat or not. And I think your opponent might have organized a potluck at the Little League.
Well, I know. Yeah, that potluck was good. Oh,
Yeah,
but
you don't have to. Let me on that statement. You be quiet, because that's my impression.
Mhm.
Elizabeth, so
Yeah.
pleased to meet you, and I'm sure you get comments on your physical beauty all the time. I've been saying maybe you haven't been in the background long enough, but I keep saying break the mold. I mean,
Aw.
you look like you should be on the cover of Vogue, and
Oh,
you're
She's a-
like in the
she's a
desert.
Disney
so
character.
embarrassed.
She
fighting
looks
with
like
people.
like Belle from the Beauty and the Beast or
Oh,
something. I mean,
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely. You know what I love
You
about
guys
that
give me
though
way too much
is
credit. Thank
no,
you.
people will underestimate you, especially since you're gorgeous and blonde. People are going to underestimate you. So I imagine that has built this resolve in you that allows you to hit harder and to really punch above your level just because people are going to underestimate you. So tell me about, your life and your career that have brought you to this point and how you expect to use those skills to help John inspire people to action in the GOP.
Well, just to start, I mean, I was raised, my father's a pastor. So I was kind of raised I was kind of told I needed to act a certain way, be a certain way, growing up. But
Yes.
also, I was raised with I guess, kind of a servitude type mentality where I would serve people, and that was the goal. Started my own business, but then when 9/11 happened, I decided I wanted to join the military. And a lot of people told me I was crazy because I had my own business. They're like, why would you leave your business and you join the military? It's because I wanted to serve my country. And it's just patriotism, really. So I did that. I started the first crisis intervention team. I was responsible for 15,000 soldiers and airmen for the areas of suicide prevention, domestic violence, suicide or sexual assault, and critical incident stress management. And then I actually commanded 2 different units, one of which I took overseas to Iraq and Kuwait, where I took 134 soldiers, brought them all back safely. Then we came back, and also, in addition, my husband and I, we have 13 children, 6 of which are adopted. I know.
Oh,
crazy,
it was
I know.
10. I thought I was crazy. God,
Yep,
she's
sorry,
certified
Lucy.
nuts. No wonder she said okay. You win. Elizabeth wins.
Well, no,
Thank you.
it's
Thank
not
you
that.
for
It's
doing
just,
that.
it's
Babies
about
are the most
serving.
important.
It's about serving, and we
Yeah.
were a licensed foster home for several years, and one of our adopted children had a baby, and we adopted her as well. So she is one of our 13, and we just it's about serving. It's about letting God being part of His plan, not about how He's a part of ours, but how we're a part of His plan, because He has the bigger plan. And so just kind of letting Him lead me in the direction I need to go, and through prayer, and I feel like this is an answer to prayer, to be able to serve the community in a different way than maybe I was able to before. So just
yeah, I called the Holy Spirit down on her. She couldn't refuse.
right. Yes.
Hey, that's not fair. This is a busy
I know
lady
it's not
here.
fair. I don't play fair, Lucy, if you didn't know that by now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have a lot of sympathy for Devon because I think Devon has the hardest job. When
Oh,
you make yourself treasurer, you're the lightning rod. I mean, people
yeah.
can talk about, John being, you're gonna be the chairman, you're gonna be the bloviating guy, and Elizabeth is, gonna go and help organize all the edicts. But the person who handles the money, that's the person who's gonna get the most criticism and be the
Yes.
lightning rod. So Devon, we're gonna keep you in our prayers.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
it.
got her back. That's for sure. It's like
So
Charlie's
Devon,
Angels.
from the treasurer's perspective, um, I'm interested because obviously I don't know anything about GOP finances, but what can you do to, I don't want to say promote the GOP, but what can you do to make a difference in the lives of Hoosiers in Marion County in the position as treasurer?
Well, I do have some experience. I'm a project manager for defense industry, and I have had
Oh,
3 or 4 projects. They've been in excess of 10 or 15 million dollars. So I do
that's
return
out of my budget.
capital to the owners of the company, and each of them I haven't overspent. So I realize the structure needed to keep those two straight on and narrow, because they're going to be focused and they're going to be committed to do things that they want to do and things they're pressured to do. But if we can't afford it or it's not in the budget, we got to pull in the reins. And that's where it's going to be tied to the strategy that John sets. And we will, march to those orders. And I do think that Marion County has I think they brought in 195K last year, the GOP, and they spent 227. So you might think, everybody's going to have a impression of how much money that is. Some might think it isn't and wasn't very much, or some might think it was more than I thought. But there's a limited budget that you'll have to work with, and there's no doubt about that. And part of it is it's all contributions and it's all expenditures. So, there's going to be a pretty narrow band there to keep them. And you said, how can we help the citizens of Marion County? We're going to have to do it on the bootstraps. There's not a big budget there, but as John said, his strategy is to get people involved, and it doesn't take money, but it does take people involvement.
Well,
Now you see why
that
I'm
is
glad to have her
awesome.
on the team.
Oh, no, you both, I mean, all three of you are clearly a force to be reckoned with. But I'm going to just make a little jab here as a libertarian. Um, And of course, you're talking about, your county, how much you raise for the county versus, I'm thinking my statewide budget, having been a vice chair of the Libertarian Party. I am horrified at the amount that you just said of 195,000 and then spending 227, which is darn near 20% more than the budget. So for every dollar you bring in, you're spending $1.20. I think I'm starting to see the bigger picture of why our country's in debt, because the people aren't even respecting the budget at the party
The
level.
local level.
It's
And
probably
then
because taxation is theft.
195,000 taxation is theft, but these came from voluntary contributions from people that were trying to steer politics in a certain way. And I will say that, I mean, I'm kind of feeling a little bit good right now because I now know on a per capita basis, based on the number of members you have of your party versus mine, the libertarians are punching up. We are raising way more per capita than you are.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
I'm now very, very proud of my budget. That's what I was before. I was like, oh, it seems so small. But no, when you talk about the number of members we have, we are really punching up. So you guys should just get prepared to get taken over.
good luck. New sheriff's in
Take no
town.
prisoners.
Well, and I just think that the pendulum swings back and forth, and it's always that way. The Democrats are awful, then we get the Republicans in there. They're going to save the day. Then the Republicans are awful. Then it just goes back and forth. And I think it's time that we stop the pendulum, and say I say what happens when the dog catches a car. When we win this thing, we got to shine. And to me, all this stuff's like going in the parade. You gotta, this is all, but doing the work is where I think that I will shine, and doing the work. That's where people are going to say, hey, This was a
Yeah.
good choice. This is a good choice. And honestly, I think if it goes the other way, the Marion County Party will be non-existent. And I'll tell you, this is the psychology that I'm talking about here. So the people that are supporting me, they are very heavily invested, and I'm going to tie this into Micah Beckwith's deal. So if Micah Beckwith wins, but if he loses, all those people that supported him, they're not going to stick around. They're going to go over to Lucy Brenton's party or to non-party or whatever. That was
Well,
probably
no, that's not even an option. Just,
yeah. See,
Oh,
yeah.
you're picking them
Brad
out
doesn't
before
even
they
want it.
not
come in.
like
Brad doesn't
even
want
a.
it. Yeah. So, but you
Sorry,
see
go
my
ahead.
point. Our people are wanting to see our vision, and their vision is the same thing they've been doing. We're going to control certain
Yes.
things. We're not going to give you the resources. We're not going to do this. We got this new shiny object in there that we've rolled out in the last couple months, but they haven't been working on this for years like we have. And I just don't know how you can make that right or make people believe that, oh, we're going to be better this time. It's like Lucy's going to let them kick the football. No, we're going to let people kick the football. I'm telling you, we're going to let them kick it. I don't care where you kick it, you can kick it out, but you're going to get a shot. You're going to get a shot to kick the football. And I think a lot of folks in the party feel that way. They don't even want to put the ball down for me to even try to kick.
Mhm.
I'm going to focus back on Elizabeth for a second because I'm fascinated that you have more children than I do. And you took the step of adopting, which was that's definitely not a challenge I've ever taken on. So I imagine as a mom with all these experiences in the military and organization and doing the thing with all of your different children and all of the different personalities and circumstances,
Yeah.
you probably, I'm just guessing, you probably have a heart for children and growing them and protecting them along the way.
Yes.
I can't think of a single thing, in the 50, 45 years that I spent in central Indiana before I moved south. I can't think of anything that the Marion County GOP did. Um, and maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe I didn't see it, but I don't remember anything where they took and made children a priority and made the protecting of our children a priority. They can pay, mouth service or whatever to lip service. They can pay lip service to the schools and this. But I tell you, that's a crappy education in the schools. So what can you do to help children in the GOP? How can
Oh
you affect
boy.
the children of Marion County?
Watch this, Lucy. Go ahead, Elizabeth. Tell them. I
Well,
sit over here.
well, my husband and I struggled because we went during COVID and different things. Our preschool closed down for a few months, 1 month and another month and another month. And we started looking around where we're going to take our children because that preschool shut down. And we were in a preschool desert, come to find out. And there were not a lot of preschools around our area. And so we said, well, what can we do to try to make things better for our community? And so we said, well, let's see if we can start a preschool. So we did. We actually opened a 15,000 square foot preschool in our area. Yeah, and we can hold up to 259 children. We're a little over 150 right now, but along the way, we've looked at different ways that we can serve our community, help people that maybe can't afford it, people that can. And I will tell you, one of the biggest gaps that we are seeing is the middle class. You've got for lower income, they qualify, for assistance, but then you've got the upper class that they already have the income, and then we've got the middle class who it just feels like they get squeezed out, and that's the part, that's really hard. And we're like, what can we do more? In building, we ran across a lot of issues when it comes to, the government, as far as all the red tape the bureaucracy that you have to get through. You've got abatements for the larger, box stores like Walmart and Kroger and all these things. We come in as a preschool, and there's an actual need in our community for us, for something like us, and yet we have no opportunities. We're told, oh, you already broke ground, so you don't qualify. And yet we have such a need in our community for that. And so that was a big frustration for us. And so anyway, we're just looking for how we can, better serve the community, and how can we reach not just the lower class and the upper class, but upper middle class and that, but how can we reach the middle class as well? So it's been an eye-opening experience for us. And I would just, I guess, I think that Marion County could do a lot more to help with childcare, to help with children, with our education. And honestly, in Franklin Township, being one of the few red areas left, there's a lot of stress on our school system right now because Marion County does not put a lot of the funds toward our area. And that's one of the biggest complaints. When I was running for state representative, I would hear, you have all of these issues with your roads, the school system. The focus is not on our area, but it's more focused on the inner city. And unfortunately, a lot of times the return on investment, they put more money toward inner city, but the return on investment's not there. So,
Yep. So there you go.
Boy, that's an excellent observation. Well, one of the things that I'm doing, and so I'm not trying to promote myself, but I'm going to anyway. So I run the Garden of Eden, EDYN, named for my granddaughter. And we're just a small plant nursery. We sell medicinal, edible, and culinary plants. And the commitment that I've made, and I've got a couple of pastors that I'm working with down here, but it never occurred to me to talk to you. And I'm talking to you because you're a preschool owner. And I always wanted to open up a preschool. I mean, it would just seem like so natural since I have so many kids. But I decided that I didn't want to tithe from my business profits in the form of cash because, anybody can write a check. So the commitment that I've made is to take 10% of what I grow. So every time I make 10 blueberry plants, I want one of them to go to a church that can put them there. And wouldn't it be cool if we could inspire little kids at 2, 3, 4 years old and teach them that if you cut off a stick from the tree in February and you stick it in the ground, it'll grow roots and make a whole new tree. So so after I get through the pastor thing, maybe I could work with you and these kids.
I would love that. They would love that. That would be amazing.
Well, food security has got to be an issue. I mean, not just with the kids in the inner city, but even middle-class families can't feed themselves right now. The inflation is incredible because taxation is theft.
That is taxation is theft, and we're not getting anything for it. That's what's frustrating. It's one thing to get taxed, but then to see them just waste the money. And it's very interesting times now, even across the country and everything. You got Doge, and then you got bronze version of Indiana Doge, and we're going to do Indy Doge. There's a lot of waste. Elizabeth talked about trying to build a preschool, and she told me some of the stories, and same stories I ran through. It's like they treat you like you are Satan himself trying to build a building to help the community, and it's wrong. Business Neighborhood Services, $28 million a year they bring in, and I challenge you to tell me what added value they bring. There is not one person down there that's an inspector that can go to any of these high rises downtown and inspect them. They just rubber stamp those people. Elizabeth, I bet none of them ever have a red flag. But us poor peasants out here trying to do it, we get it. So these are the type of things, and I know we're getting into a little bit of policy, but these are the type of things that I want to, get to our candidates. And then we're going to hit these issues, the child care, costs for construction, affordable housing is very near and dear to me. And I'm not talking about, $1,700 rent or whatever. I'm talking about $600 and $500 rent that people can afford to actually live and eat. A lot of the people we serve can't eat or can't live. They can do one or the other. So they can pay their rent and they come down and get some food from us. And we have, other than just a meal, we have supplies that will make them through at least half the week usually. And those people, the people that volunteer with me, they're not rich people. These are people that just want to do this stuff. And, and I see rich people that just really write a check or whatever. But, most of the people that I know, the most generous people are the lady, the 2 copper pennies that the lady gave in the Bible. They don't have that much. And to me, that makes a bigger impact on what they give than somebody that writes or Elon Musk writing a $5 million check. That's nothing to him. But, that's
Elizabeth kept saying, like, to, the call to serve is, I think that's the thing that kind of really bonds a lot of us on the panel right now. Like, I feel like that's where our heart is coming from with all of this. And so, it doesn't matter the money. John, like you said, like, you can write a check for anything, but it takes a skill to motivate people to actually come out and spend their free time, because that's, they're putting their own price on that. So
one of the things I like to add, and before I forget, I keep forgetting, is the social media aspect. My footprint on social media is larger than the entire Marion County GOP plus about half of their candidates, and we have not taken advantage of that. And then I started this show out of the necessity because nobody covers us, and we've been doing this for 4 years, and we've had people. I know it's like it seems like 12. No, I mean it seems like less than that. But
Yeah, it seems like last week we started.
But this is, and I appreciate, other than Tiffany slacking tonight, you guys are here every Tuesday and ready to do this show. And I always make the joke, raise your hand if you're getting paid. Nobody can raise their hand, but yet we still keep doing it. But I think a lot of people want to, come to here because they want to hear honest talk. This is like a water cooler talk. We're talking about issues right now that you're not going to get one of these forums. You're going to get a canned political speech or whatever, but this is real talk here, and that's what I like about the show, that we're open and honest about other people, and we bring them on, and we got a libertarian, a Democrat, and a Republican, and then a host, which I'm Republican, but I try not to be Republican when I'm the host, but I can't help it.
What I see from the experience of all three of you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that all of you are used to creating a system and a structure in whatever your respective careers were, but creating something that was accountable, that it worked, it had to accomplish a purpose, you had to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there were ways to be accountable and to measure those things all in between. And I think that's sorely needed. Like you said, the previous guy, he tried to do what he could, but the fact of the matter is it takes more than one person to pull the cart. You got to have more people working.
Said. Well
John,
said.
you lost audio there.
Oh yeah, I got to do that. Sorry, my mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out. There'd be a lot of people that would be thrilled about that.
People accuse me of that. Yeah, people accuse me of that all the time. Your mouth is
Yeah,
moving.
it's like, hey, your mouth is moving. Is there lights are on? Nobody's home. All that good stuff. Yeah, and it is amazing that we did the same thing 4 years ago, and the other three people. I never saw them. And when I ask about it, they say, well, they're working behind the scenes. I'm like, okay, I want that job. Maybe Elon Musk needs to send them an email and ask them 5 things they did last week. I don't know, but I can assure you that our team is going to be able to move the needle. I think that the opposition is going to be the same thing. I think they're only after controlling their interests of the clients coming in, so they can get their money and represent them. And it's just a clinging to power. This isn't a matter of making Marion County better. And I don't know how else I can make that any clearer.
I have a question. I'm going to interrupt you because I can, because I'm the host tonight, right?
Yep.
So unfortunately, I'm not producing, so I can't mute you all like you've done to me before.
One time.
I deserved it. I really did. I was off
Mark got under your skin, and you ran him out. He's in Kansas now. That's how lethal Lucy is.
I did Hoosiers a favor, and I got Jefferson Shreve into trouble and John Rust into some trouble too. So that's fun.
Yeah, if you can get by Lucy, you got a chance, but don't think it's easy.
Okay, so I don't know anything about how the GOP works as far as who votes for you. So John, I got questions. Who is responsible for voting for you? How do you get the impact? So do precinct committee men vote for you? And so everybody that has listened to the show should talk to their friends and say, find your precinct committee men and vote for John. If you want change, if you want to break the mold, if you want a team that actually has the chops to change things, then this is what you must do. Because I imagine that the precinct committee men, if they're voting, they may not be watching this. They may not even know why they should be voting for you. So tell me about the mechanics of who votes for you in this election.
So how this works is all 92 counties are doing this. It's the Democrats and the Republicans. They get together every 4 years after the presidential election, and the precinct committeemen and vice PCs. So the vice precinct, you pick
both.
somebody, but this is the only time they can vote in reorganization. It always happens on the first Saturday between 9 and noon and 1 o'clock. So everybody knows when it is, but nobody remembers. And so they get to come in and vote. We get, I'm just,
That just hit me. Went over my head for a second.
yeah,
I didn't like catch it.
and it's amazing how many people go, when is it again? Oh my gosh. So we all get together. The doors open at 8 out at the fairgrounds. There's about 550 people on the list, appointed vice PCs. About 150 of those are PCs and vice PCs that we recruited. And presumably they're going to like what we're doing. And then we have 2 minutes for somebody to introduce us. And then we have 3 minutes for our speech. And then they go vote. And after they vote, whoever wins, my opponent or myself, we take over the meeting right then. I mean, we literally take over the meeting, Robert's rules. So where I lose Brad, his Bud Light's getting him.
Is that this coming Saturday?
Yep, it's this Saturday. So
okay, that's a tight timeline.
Yeah. So if you do know your PCs, and tonight was interesting because we had a lot of PCs that came that I've never seen before, and we have a list of people to call, and that's always suspect because they gave me a list. We know who ran and won because that's public knowledge. We saw the elections, we got their numbers, we recruited a lot of them, so we were able to make calls. But then when we got this other list, there'd been appointed a bunch of people, and I don't know who they are, never seen them in my life before, but they've been just appointed to go vote a certain way. And the first list they sent us had no phone numbers on it and no emails.
Wow. So what you're up against is the entrenched members of the status quo being able to appoint a whole bunch of people right here at the last minute who will likely come in, be directed to vote for the establishment candidate, and then never have another responsibility or they're going to bow out.
Yeah, well, and that's the case. And in fact, the last caucus that I was actually in, they gave me the wrong address.
Oh no.
And then I got an email of it. And I'm like, and then they tried to argue. I said, dude, I got the email right here. You gave me the wrong address. Now, fortunately, it was just, not far away from the right address. But it's like, that's what we're really sort of fighting against. And that's one of the things I want to be adamant on not letting happen. We're not going to put our thumb on the scale. If you want to, so say Devon and Elizabeth want to take over in 4 years. It's going to be tough for me to say, hey, I support one or the other. You guys fight it out and we'll see what happens. I'm going to give you both the same list. There you go, Brad. You okay? Want to check on you?
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
So I love
you were talking about Republicans and
yeah, you had to go.
He was like all tuned out.
Yeah, but so that's the message I want to send out there that that it's going to be a fairly run contest, and it's like in my opponent we had these club meetings and like downtown GOP, she couldn't make it, so they didn't let anybody speak. Well, it's not my fault she didn't make it. I should be able to speak at this club meeting. Elizabeth was at Franklin Township meeting. She's the secretary for Franklin Township Club. They gave us a whopping minute and a half at the end of the thing to talk. And then I got a lecture from the guy running the thing about how we need a builder, but we don't want to burn it down. I'm like, well, why don't you just say my name in there? So, it's and it just, but that's okay. Bring your best, whatever you got. People see through that stuff. And I think that, the people that really care about the party, they're going to vote the right way and they're going to pick the best team. And we have a team and we've been doing this for a while. And I think that's going to shine through. So, but if you do know a precinct committee man, or if you want to be one, wait till after March 1st and I will hook you up because we're going to fill all of them up. And I want, but you're not going to be just voting. You're going to be doing some work. But what I do as a leader is I got to figure out what your skills are. And then we want to put them to the best use so you don't get burnt out and that you want to do it, not have to do it. And I think that's what a county chair or any leader should do. They shouldn't burn their troops out, right, Elizabeth? You don't want to burn the troops out.
Oh, that's exactly right. Absolutely.
So that's sort of the what you could do precinct committee man. I mean, if you know one, call them and threaten them. I mean, no, don't threaten them. Just say, hey, vote for John. That's bad. That's a tough word there. So, but that's it.
That is wonderful. Well, is that a note we should end on? I mean, it is 10:25, and
yeah, I know.
I don't know about you, but I need to get my beauty sleep. Hey, Brett, I've kind of taken over here and I've, done a lot of monopolizing. So I feel like I should let you say something or ask something or
Well, I mean, most of my questions are pretty inflammatory about Republicans, so I don't think they want to answer like any of them.
All right, we'll let you answer. We'll let you ask one question like that. So
Okay, well,
make it
thank
your
you,
worst.
because my question is for Elizabeth because her military record is extremely impressive. Thank you for your service.
It's an honor.
I want to know. I feel like you have more merit than Pete Hegseth. And so I just want to see about if you would consider if he like dropped out, would like I feel you're more qualified to become Secretary of Defense right now.
Oh dear.
Based on all this. But
that seems rational to me.
I appreciate I could never compete
I'm
with
sure
that.
I'm sure, Brad, if the President of the United States goes to Elizabeth, I'm asking you, Elizabeth, the President of the United States comes to you and asks you to serve your country in that capacity, would you step up and say yes?
Yes.
We'll pay.
Yeah. Not to say he's not, but it's all about merit, right? Because FBI and Cash Patel and Dan Bongino.
Hold your breath, baby. It's going to be a long 4 years. I don't know.
Merit.
Yeah.
All about that merit.
Yeah. We'll see.
There's no reason to watch Netflix and chill anymore when you just have to watch the mainstream news and see the country.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's just coming at you every day.
The legacy media, though, Lucy. It's not mainstream media anymore. It's legacy.
Legacy, yes, yeah, legacy.
CBS, NBC, and ABC, like the actual news. They're not called
I
the news
would call
anymore.
that. Wait a second. They're USAID supported. I think the only real news comes from YouTubers who organically go out and experience and live the news. So I'm just saying.
I don't think they go out though. I think they sit inside and consume social media, and then just say things out loud.
It is amazing the talking points that get spread around. I mean, it is amazing that even at this level we're at, it's just I keep finding out new things about me every day that I screwed up. It's awesome. It's like, well, I forgot about that screw up. Thanks for reminding me.
I'm sure your opponent would like to mind that list. Oh, Tommy Ice, you should put that last comment up, John. If you
hold on a
haven't
second,
already.
I was getting ready to push the button because. Oh, Tommy Ice. Let's see. I didn't even see it. Adam shifts his shifting. Wow, that's
a good one.
He might have got that 24-hour bug.
John has given me way too much power because I'm about to make an executive decision over the show. There shall be no conspiracy theory tonight, even though it's my favorite thing ever. Because I want all of you to continue to have political careers.
Yeah, that's right. It's like I'm surprised they didn't pull that out, but they got other ways to make me look crazy, so it's all good. So hey, thanks Lucy for hosting, and
thank you,
and
Elizabeth.
Thanks for coming on, and Brad, thanks for
Lucy. Great job tonight, Lucy.
Yes, great job. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
All right, everybody.
I sincerely hope you win.
All right. Well, hey, it'll be an interesting show next Tuesday, no matter what. So stay tuned for the 409th episode of Mouthwash Talk Show. Crazy, isn't it? So we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.